Perfect. Perfect.
All right, everybody, what's going on? And welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk, the show we cover the SWAC inside and out. And I'm your tour guide around the SWAC Seawells. And today we're going to finally start talking about an actual game that's taking place this weekend. The MEAC SWAC Challenge kicks off on Saturday, August 26th, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. Jackson State Tigers, South Carolina State Bulldogs. This game, man, is going to be a very interesting game, to say the least, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I do have on my socials my weekly schedule for the show for the rest of the football season. You can check that out on Facebook, which is SWAC Talk, Instagram, which is SWAC Talk, Twitter, SWAC Talk 76. Also, you can hit that subscribe button to become a subscriber to the YouTube channel, and also if you would like to become a member, hit that join button to become a member. We got a lot of great things we're going to be doing during the season. So make sure you take part in that. Hit that notification bell, hit that like button, and comment your thoughts on this upcoming game. So without further ado, like I said, MEAC SWAC Challenge, Saturday, August 26th, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, ABC broadcast. Very, very interesting game, man. I mean, this game can go a multitude of ways. You got a Jackson State team coming in with over 70 new players and a new head coach, new coaching staff. You got a South Carolina State team coming off of an uncharacteristic 3-8 season under Coach Buddy Pugh, who's been there forever. Will they get, will they round back in the form? Will Jackson State become what a lot of people think they will? It's a multitude of ways we can approach this game, and to me, this is the hardest game to look at because it's the first game, and we don't have any real concrete idea, what's going on with JSU unless you like a man insider. But for folk like me, it's tough to really pinpoint who and what. Coach Taylor said he's not naming the starter publicly until around game time. He was like the team basically already knows, but they haven't nailed it down. Also, you got to figure out from an outside perspective any other starters. But there's been a lot of guys who have shown flashes throughout, and there's a lot of talent on this team. So it's a team that should be very good once the season gets going. This game is interesting to me because we don't really know how this team is going to turn out and how they're going to mesh and gel for week one. South Carolina State's an interesting opponent because they're coming off of, like I said, a 3-8 season where they were not really good offensively. They were like third in the league in total offense, sixth in rushing offense, which is last in the MEAC. Third in passing offense. The offensive line did allow only 18 sacks on the season, so they did a pretty good job of protecting the quarterback. And a lot of those guys are back. This is a very veteran team. A lot of fifth and sixth year guys on this team. So they want to atone for what happened last season. The defense was a whole lot more rocky. They were fifth in total offense, fifth in rushing offense. They were second in passing defense. They led the league in interceptions. They were second in sacks with 28. They had 13 interceptions. The offense was bad, very, very bad on third downs, 29%, which was fifth in the league. They were third and fourth down offense at 47%. The third down defense was at 37% for third place. Fourth down defense was 46%, which was fourth. They were fourth in red zone offense. They only scored on 70% of their appearances in the red zone. Defense gave up 81% scores in the red zone, which was 5th in the league. They did, they one of the things South Carolina State usually does well is run the ball. And last season they just did not do it well, and they don't return anybody really of note in the running game. The leading returning rusher only has 61 yards, so there's not a lot to glean from that. Corey Fields is the guy at quarterback. He had a up and down season last season. Was a pretty solid guy in 21, helping lead them to the Celebration Bowl. He was up and down last season, battled some injuries and some poor play. You're losing a guy like Shaq Davis at wide receiver, so your big play guy is gone. Now you're gonna have to find other guys. I think the defense on this team has some talent. Can they continue to make some things happen? That's always going to be key. You got guys like Patrick Garbold on the D line, Jablonski Green, who's a guy who really was a big factor in 21. Not as much in 22. Aaron Smith, who's the leading tackler on the team. Those guys are definitely going to be guys to look out for. On offense, you got guys like Richard Bailey and Rakeem White and Jordan Smith at wide receiver. Like I said, the running game is wide open. This team, even looking at this, I still don't know where this team is. You kind of had an idea of a Buddy Pugh team that they're gonna be tough. They're gonna be physical. They're gonna try to run the ball. They're gonna try to stop the run. And none of those, and this team did none of that last season. So that's kind of a concern to me. This game is really tough to predict, because I have no real guideline, for where these teams are. In a week or two, you can easily nail down a prediction on a team, and it's the first game, so I really look at this game may be a little sloppy. This could be a game where the team who commits to the fewest turnovers it wins. The team with the fewest penalties. South Carolina State threw 15 interceptions last season, so you're looking at a team who turned the ball over quite a bit, and that's going to be an issue with this team moving forward. They really, they really struggled to score points in a couple of their games last season. They scored 14 points in 2 of their losses in conference play. So they had moments of not being able to put points on the board, and I think that could be an issue in this game. Jackson State, without really knowing exactly who's where and what they're up to. The simple thing to point out for them is, you want to try to get off to a fast start. That doesn't necessarily mean scoring a touchdown on every drive. It just means being able to show that you can move the ball in this game, putting yourself in good positions on offense, moving the ball, keeping the ball on a positive end of the field, giving the defense, more room to work. And forcing South Carolina State to drive the ball down the field. I don't think this team is going to be able to drive the ball down the field. The Jackson State defense should still be very good. So, even with, a lot of new pieces, the defense should be able to make some things happen against this offense, because I don't know exactly where South Carolina State is on offense right now. So being able to force them into 3 and outs, or having a first down and making them punt, and being able to play it from your 45 on down, then you're gonna more often than not be able to happen into some points. If the offense kind of struggles early, it may take a few possessions for the offense to get clicking, because depending on who is the guy, you're gonna have a guy being able to make some plays in a situation that they're not really familiar with. So, like I said, fast start is the must for Jackson State. Winning the turnover battle is a must. Being able to convert on 3rd downs, all of these are very basic. So it's nothing exotic that I'm saying. But being able to get off the field on third downs and extend your offensive drives on third downs, make South Carolina State pass the ball, because they, even though they didn't have a great running game last season, they still want to run the ball. So if you can make them one dimensional and make them have to pass and lean on receivers who they may not have 100% trust in, that can give you a good chance to to make some things happen. This team, even with the poor running numbers last season, this team ran the ball 308 times and they threw the ball 239 times. So they don't really want to throw the ball. They still want to try to run it, even if it's not there. So they're gonna still try to line up and run at you. But if you can make them pass the ball and force them into making some simple mistakes, then you'll be fine. Offensive line is gonna have to stand up to South Carolina State's defensive line. Individually, that defensive line has some talent, but they just did not put it together last season for various reasons. This is, barring any unforeseen camp injuries, this is probably going to be the healthiest this team has been in a long time. So, having those full complement of guys on that South Carolina State defense could make things a little bit challenging, because even though this team didn't win a lot of games last season, they returned 16 starters. I always say, is that good or bad? When you have a bad record and you return a lot of guys, is that good or bad? For them, they're hoping it's good. They did not hit the portal. They got like 3 guys out of the portal. So they're leaning on their existing guys to kind of right the ship. I think it's just important that Jackson State keep the pressure on them all game, on all sides of the ball. Being able to, get that hidden yardage in the return game, being able to pin them back when you have to punt or on your kickoff coverage, just making them have to drive the ball 65, 75, 80 yards down the field. I don't think that South Carolina State is going to be able to do that consistently. This is probably going to be a game where the big plays are more vital than any other game, because we don't really know, if Jackson State's going to be consistently moving the ball down the field. If they're playing well, they will. But if they're having those first game stutters and jitters, and you want to be able to hit those big plays. Having a guy like Seven McGee in a return game getting you a big return. Having Rico Powers or Duke Miller making a big play down the field, or even a young guy like Isaiah Spencer, making some plays. Quarterback being able to put the ball around. Running game, be solid. The defense, forcing some sacks and turnovers. So the edge really, regardless, right now, it still favors Jackson State to me. I mean, if you go guy for guy, then I think the team is more talented than the team lining up against them. It's just, can they win? Can they win as a team? And can the sideline battle be won, because you know that South Carolina State is going to throw everything at Jackson State. They're going to try to control the tempo. They're going to try to make this be a game that Jackson State may not be comfortable with at this point in the season. So I don't really see a lot of points being scored in this game. If this game is a blowout, then something went horribly wrong for one team and something went extremely right for the other team. I'm leaning more, and I'm gonna give my score now, even though I got Jackson State 21, South Carolina State 14. I think South Carolina State's gonna get a they're gonna hit a play here or there, and they may even be able to put together a drive. Maybe it's their first drive, because teams script their drives for the first few possessions. So maybe a scripted drive, they able to hit everything that they practice and score first. But I don't really see this being a game where they go point for point. It could be a game that goes that isn't decided till late in the game. And the edge there, Jackson State has some great special teams, and individual guys, so this game is really up in the air for me, man. Like I said, I don't really feel either any way that this game is a certainty for anybody. Both sides feel like they can win this game, and both sides feel like they're gonna, handle business on the other team. So this is a very interesting game to watch from an outside perspective because you're gonna watch teams develop right in front of your eyes in this game. Sometimes you have a team that's a more veteran team. That first game is all about just avoiding the simple first game mistakes. You already kind of know what that team is. Seeing these two teams, they both are kind of rebounding in different ways. But seeing these two teams put together whatever they're doing on Saturday is gonna dictate the rest of their season. But I just don't think that South Carolina State. I don't think they have enough in this game. I mean, it's tough to predict a team who has 70 new guys that they're gonna do whatever. And Jackson State, new head coaches have won like 8 or 9 games in a row in that opening game as the coach at Jackson State. So, TC Taylor has opportunity to continue that winning streak. And I think, I think the SWAC gets on the board in this one. Like I said, I don't really see a lot of points in this just because we don't really know where these two teams are at this point. If this game was played later in the season, then you have a way better idea of who they are and what they are. But, both teams, as far as I know, they're pretty healthy. So we'll see, can their experience of a South Carolina State team who did win the Celebration Bowl in 2021, can that experience outlast the talent of a team that hasn't been together yet? It's a very interesting match. I think it's gonna be a great chess match. So I don't really have a lot of super in-depth things to say about this game because I don't really know where this thing is heading. But it should be a really good matchup and a good lead off to the season. I just expect to see a lot of up and down play from both teams. Both teams will improve as the season goes on from this because the first game, hopefully the weather's good. That the heat could be a factor if this heat wave is continuing. That could be a factor in a game like this. Conditioning is going to be huge in the first game. That could be a reason why you see one of the teams pull away in the fourth quarter. So simple, like I said, the game plan, at least from where I sit for Jackson State, is simple, man. Just it's easier said than done, but just win the turnover battle. Start fast. Win the third down battle. I think that's very important on both sides of the ball to keep South Carolina State having to go long distances on the field and make them one-dimensional. Put them behind schedule on offense. Have them in a lot of 2nd and 8s and 3rd and 9s and 10s. And making them have to pass the ball, and then you can get your pressure from your talented D line, and your secondary is very talented at Jackson State. So if those guys can force them to put some balls in the air, then you may be able to get a pick or two. Force a fumble and see where you go. Just keeping them having to go the length of the field to score is gonna eventually wear that offense down because I don't think that offense is gonna be consistent enough to do that because last season they couldn't, and they returned a lot of guys from that team. So will they take a step? That's also a factor. Can those guys improve from last season? We shall see. So that's gonna do it for our week 0 preview. We'll be back on Wednesday. Well, excuse me. We'll be back on Sunday with a recap of this game, and Thursday on SWAC Smoke we'll also talk about this game and whatever else is going on in the HBC football world. So I'm your tour guide around the SWAC Seawell signing out, and we'll be back to recap this game on Sunday. May do a show either before or after the game on Saturday. Not quite sure, but check the socials just for that to see if anything's coming your way. And we'll holler at y'all on the next one. Peace.